Hello, and welcome to another edition of TJ Plays with some AI stuff. In this edition, I'm going to show some cool features that you could do with variables and variable analysis and reporting and all kinds of cool things you could do with Figma Console MCP to retrieve variables and really do whatever you want with them depending on your role. If you wanted to check them for accessibility rules or compare them to other variables or check naming conventions or check for redundancies. That's mainly just in like an analysis mode, but you can also do it if you're hooked up to an MCP client that's part of a code base. Then you can check the validity of variables. You can check variables across projects, which is also cool. So one of the things that is limiting with the Figma official MCP is that you don't have access to like the project's variables. You only have access to the component that you're communicating with variables. So you can't really get like a whole world view of variables. So we needed a way to access the project as a whole and get variables from there. The Figma API allows you to access variables, but you can only access them if you're accessing variables through an enterprise level account. So what I wanted to do with Figma Console was make variables available to anyone. And it does that two ways. One, it does use the Figma API to access variables if an enterprise level account is available. And then if it's not available and you're using the remote MCP, then you won't get anything back because it's going to block you. But if you're using the local MCP, then it'll use a different method that accesses the Figma plugin API and the console of Figma in like a developer mode kind of, and then it ends up fishing it out through there. So this is ChatGPT, and you're able to connect custom MCPs to it if you use it in the developer mode. So I added the Figma console to ChatGPT, and I asked it to go to this. This is the remote Figma MCP, Figma console MCP I have hooked up here. And then the first prompt, I just asked it to access this enterprise level Figma project and grab return all of the variable mode primary typefaces. This particular project has like 18 variable modes with a lot of different properties and values in them. So it scanned through all of those variables and it brought back every variable mode. On the left side is all the variable modes, the variable mode names, and on the right side is the name of the typeface that it finds. So this is cool. I can continue on like prompting this and then getting more data back. So this is just one method. If you're using the easy setup connector remote MCP version of Figma Console, you can just go with this. But I want to show something that's like a little bit more probably for people who don't have Figma Console access. For Figma people who don't have Figma Enterprise level access. So now I'm going to go into Claude Desktop, and this is hooked up to the local MCP. And this is Altitude Design System, which is our design system, and it is not enterprise level. We do not have an enterprise level Figma account. So now I'm going to say something like, use the Figma console to get all of the variable mode names in all of their primary colors. And then I'm just going to give it the URL to the Figma project and then see what happens. So what should happen is it would go through and then try to detect the variables, and then it's likely going to end up trying to use the API first and say like, oh, well, that's not working. But then it's going to go and fish through the local mode because I have it open, and then it's going to go through there and it's grabbing. These are the variable modes: altitude, north, right, south, left, and Odyssey. And it's getting all of these primary colors, which is cool. And I can show you that here: altitude, north, right, south, left, Odyssey. And here's all the primary colors that it pulls, which is pretty cool. It can also do other things too. So I can say like, and I think the Figma console can do this as well. So I can say, so I'm not going to copy the link to this banner. I'm just going to say, can you tell me the description and the component annotations for the selected component within this project? So system connected to the local Figma project, it has access to like know where, what page it's on and what component is focused. And then once it can gather that component data, see it knows it's on the banner component, which is where it was. This is, let me X this out because we don't need this anymore. So this is the banner component and banner. This is the description and these are the annotations. And let's see. Appears the documentation, however, REST API, and I could say, yeah, the desktop bridge is connected. Please continue. So the way it does that is through this thing called the Figma desktop bridge. It's a little plugin that kind of runs in the background that keeps a connection between the MCP client and the Figma desktop. So I can go to any MCP client and fetch data from the local Figma file, as long as this little, I don't need this set up here. I can kind of tuck this away wherever I want, but it keeps that little bridge between any MCP client that's accessing the Figma application locally and Figma. So it's pretty awesome. So now here's the description that we just saw in what you call it, and then here's the annotations that were on there as well. So awesome. There's a lot of things you could do with it. This is just kind of scratching the surface for the purpose of keeping this video short, and it doesn't, I feel like it's not short. I feel like this is kind of long, but also like as far as tooling, this is probably something that can maybe take the place of Style Dictionary. Like I can see this being utilized to pipe this data straight into your code base through Cursor or Claude Code. And then it can also do things like fix other things that it finds, especially if there's conflicts with multiple people working within a code base and updating tokens at the same time. It could help with versioning, and I don't know, there's countless opportunities here. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this. Please let me know if you have any questions, and then stay tuned for the next part. I feel like it's part 5, where I'm going to show how this works with Figma plugin development. All right, thank you.